We're recording.
Happy New Year.
It is the new year, isn't it?
It's 2017 New Year and new season of Coaching the Comedy.
Season, that's right.
Well, we tried to do it, rest in peace, the last episode we did 2 weeks ago.
The last two episodes, right? Didn't we? Well, we tried.
I came for one episode and we sat here for an hour trying to monkey with everything. It didn't work.
No.
And then we recorded a full episode with my friend Rob, who works for a radio station in Evansville, Indiana. And I thought that went really well. But it sounded like garbage.
Sounded like garbage. Yeah, it's. I don't want to harp on the negatives of doing a podcast, but it's tough. It's tough business. Like listening to like the Joe Rogan podcast, and there isn't very many people that do this whole I'm talking and the camera's on me, and then you talk and the camera's on you. That's tough to do. I mean,
we don't even do that at the radio station. I mean, we don't have to worry about the visual aspect of anything.
Sure,
it's all audio, and I don't deal with any of the technical stuff anyways. We have an engineer on hand. Yeah. So here, you're the engineer, and
I'm the director and the producer. And
yeah, it's really nice for me because I'm a guy that has to run a board for a living. Like, I don't have to worry about it. I just sit down.
That's pretty cool.
It's nice. I just get to let you do all the work.
Well, so people that don't understand how this is working, we just have a software that switches between the two of us and records audio, and that's really all it does. But it always seems like there's one little thing that's making it a little more difficult.
Usually when we try to add a third person, it goes haywire.
Yes. Hopefully we can have that figured out in a few weeks because we'll have a special guest and we'll announce that when that happens.
Right. So you're not saying that yet.
Let's wait. Let's make sure that this turns out. We can get 3 mics working.
Let's get 3 mics working before we promise anything. So do you do anything for New Year's? Do you do resolutions?
No.
Do you set goals? I stopped doing resolutions. Like, I'm going to do this more. Yeah. And I just try to set more personal, introspective goals.
Yeah, my goals haven't changed from yesterday till today. Everything's the same. I don't have I'm going to do this year. I always try to top the year. I mean, last year was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, as a gym, like, we kicked butt. We had some champions. We won a lot of fights. We won a lot of jiu-jitsu matches. The gym as a whole is growing. So business-wise and martial arts-wise, all I want to do is top that,
For me, and I know it's different for you because you've been very physical your whole life. That's your business. For me, for the first time ever, my goals going into 2017 start with keep doing and maintain. Like, I don't have to start running because I run 3 times a week. I don't have to start lifting weights because I do that. I don't have to start martial arts. I'm just going to keep progressing.
Yes.
And that's really cool for me to be like, I'm sticking with it. I'm just going to keep maintaining and getting better. If anything, I want to get a little more disciplined with my eating, but I'm not going to make that into a resolution because that never works.
Yeah. Just
I like food.
Take it one day at a time. I love food too.
I work out so much to stay overweight. Like, if I actually didn't eat garbage, I'd be pretty ripped out.
I've said it before. One of the last jiu-jitsu tournaments I did, I put, instead of my weight class, I put overweight class.
Overweight class.
Whatever. And it was a brown belt, so I only had like 2 or 3 matches, and they were all different weights anyway. So I just said, for weight class, over.
Although it's not even like you eat. It's not like you sit down and eat a dozen donuts.
No.
You sit down and eat $80 worth of sushi.
Yes.
You will pound sushi rolls. I had a real problem at my mom's house on Christmas. I went into the kitchen, and my sister was like, "Well, we have cake. You have to have cake." And I was like, "I can't have cake. I'm not going to have any cake." And they were like, "Why won't you have any cake?" And I said, "Because you left me unattended in the living room, and I had 9 pieces of fudge."
Oh.
15 minutes later, I had cake.
Yeah, I had cake.
See, I can't
do that. I can't eat that much sugar. For me, it just starts making me feel sick, and I need to have very, very little sugar and as much real food as possible. Like you said, I can eat so much sushi, rice and fish, done.
After the holidays and after last night, because I made calamari and stuff like that on New Year's and just eat a ton of food.
Cool.
And then today I'll have pork and sauerkraut at my mom's house. I'm going to need to eat just salads for a little bit. And not even a health thing. Like, my body just needs some leafy greens.
I hear that.
Oh my God, enough of the pie.
I had a piece of salmon in the airport yesterday. And that was like one of the last meals. I did the same thing for pork and sauerkraut. You know what I did this year was I did chorizo, the sausage.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
I had that for breakfast.
When you say you did it, you ate it, or
It's
did
done.
you make it yourself?
No. So I put it all in the night before, and I let it in the crock pot on low.
Yeah.
And
Low and slow.
Yes. I wake up and I eat it, and then we'll do open mat after this. I'll go home. I'll have more. I'll just eat some pork and sauerkraut all day.
Well, because they say it's a superstition of my mother's. If you don't have pork and sauerkraut, it's very Pennsylvania Dutch.
It is. So I was going to say it's kind of a German thing, right? Like,
yeah.
And doesn't it have to do with like next year's crop or something like that?
I don't know what it is. I just know my mom is nuts about it. And the one year that I couldn't get to her house to have pork and sauerkraut because I was sick or whatever, she drove it up, and I was like, Mom, I'm sick. And she was like, you just have to have some or you'll have bad luck. I was like, listen, the years that I've had haven't been that great anyways. It's kind of like Lewistown has a thing. Have you ever heard of Goose Day?
No.
They have Goose Day. I forget which day of the year it is. And if you don't eat goose on Goose Day, you won't have financial success. But if you eat goose on Goose Day, you'll be financially fortunate and financially lucky. Sorry, Lewistown, but you're one of the more depressed towns in this area.
Doesn't seem to have worked.
I feel like you need to try something else. Maybe mutual funds.
Maybe they should change it to Goosing Day, and they can just go around and goose people.
You could do that. Maybe.
I mean, that may have a better effect. So do you do anything for, other than the pork and sauerkraut, do you do anything for New Year's? Or
New Year's Day is usually just go to my mom's, pork and sauerkraut, a little bit of football, and that's that. New Year's Eve has changed dramatically since having kids and the family. We have people over to our house, and we play games, or we watch the ball drop, and we eat a ton of food, maybe drink a little too much, and then just kind of chill out the next day. So New Year's is very easy peasy
just
for
a
us.
relaxed day?
Yeah.
So this is weird how...
I never want to travel anywhere for New Year's.
No.
Well, you almost did. You went to Vegas.
And we came back very quickly. We wanted nothing to do with Las Vegas on New Year's.
No? I feel like that would be a people watching experience like none of
Yes, but it's so packed. Like, so we left Vegas New Year's Eve morning. The day before, like, we could hardly get around the hotels. Like, it was, and that was the Ronda Rousey fight. But it got to the point where we're just like, oh, it's so packed. So for Vegas on New Year's, they shut down the strip, and then it's just people on the strip. Like, it's just packed.
Wow.
Yeah. We were there for the 4th of July, and the Red Bull flying team or skydiving team did that thing where they came into Vegas, and as soon as they started flying in, everyone just stopped. And here's the problem: like, there's escalators coming down, and so it's feeding more and more people.
So it's a traffic jam.
It was horrible. It got to the point where it was Brooke and I, and we were sandwiched between, like, there was one little Russian lady and there was another big guy. And we couldn't move. If we wanted to move, we had to step on people.
That's happened to me in Disney World, like during a parade at the Magic Kingdom or something, on a very busy day. It's madness.
Yeah.
And you get a little claustrophobic. I know Kelly wants to at some point, and we love going to Disney World with kids. Christmas at Disney would be awesome.
Probably.
I mean, Christmas Day would be great. But
Yeah.
it is the undisputed most busiest day of the year for all the parks. If you don't get to the park by 8 a.m.,
No way.
they hit capacity and you can't get in. So it is at capacity.
Wow.
And so it's just crazy. You're waiting 2 hours for any ride.
Huh.
I don't see what the appeal is. I feel like I'd want to kill somebody.
I'm sure. I hate that traffic jam.
And you paid
Too many people. Like,
and you
that's
paid $8,000 to do it.
Yeah. Thank you. So I missed this. What happened with Mariah Carey? And then we'll have that lead into Ronda Rousey.
Right.
We'll talk about fights.
Well, Ronda Rousey, Ohio State, and Mariah Carey had very bad ends to 2016, and Mariah Carey's was pretty epic. Last night, so she's doing the Dick Clark New Year's Rockin' Eve Ryan Seacrest thing, and she.
Sorry to interrupt. Was she already drunk? Just so I can kind of picture this.
No one says that she's drunk.
Okay.
She didn't seem totally lucid, however.
Huh.
So she's been in rehab before. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Today they're saying that she had technical issues. She couldn't hear the music or whatever. But she seemed a little out of it. So she starts with Old Lang Syne, and it's like 30 seconds, and then her team of dancers have feathers, and they open up the feathers, and she comes out, and she's wearing this nude onesie, and she looks like she's naked, and she's got to get downstairs, and she can't do it.
Does she look good?
No, she does not. Not to me. And she says into the mic. She's got the mic, and you can hear it clear as day, as if she was singing a song. Just walk me down. Just walk me down. And so the dancers have her by the arms, and they're walking her down the stairs. She gets to the stairs, and the song is now playing, and she's standing there looking up into the sky, looking for a camera, I assume, even though
maybe a teleprompter or something.
She's looking up like for a high camera, but there's one right in front of her. And she does that, and then the music's going, and she says something that you can barely understand. It's just like, well, I don't even know the word here. And then she was like, we'll just do it, and then more song, and then you hear her high notes are pumped in to like lip sync, like she's getting help on her high notes. Like,
sure.
And you can hear the high notes playing. She's just missing all of the song.
Oh my God.
And then she keeps saying to the crowd, like, this is great. I'm being a good sport. And then she's just talking over everything. And then it ends, and she's like, this was a real piece of awesome.
Wow.
And they walk her off the stage, and they give her the hook, and it was awkward and terrible.
That
and
sounds
awesome.
horribly awkward.
Awesome.
Wow.
She had a bad end of 2016, but she lasted on that stage about 43 more seconds than Ronda Rousey did in her
Good
fight.
call.
Ronda Rousey went down in 48 seconds. I didn't predict that.
Unbelievable. Well, guess who did?
No, you predicted that Nunes would win the fight. Did you
Yes.
think that she was going to devastate her in under a minute?
I knew how it would happen. I didn't know how quick it would happen. So I said from day one, Ronda's going to run straight into the jab. She's just going to walk straight into it. She tries to get this, over under for her judo throw that she's had so much success with, and she's just going to run right into the jab. I thought it was going to be 5 rounds of Nunes picking her apart. I really did, but I knew that I thought it was going to go to a decision, unanimous decision. Nunes. I did not think it was going to happen within a minute. That's crazy.
I never rooted against Ronda Rousey. I think I'm one of the rare people that I kind of like her.
Sure.
I kind of wanted her to get back on track.
Yeah.
Just like I wanted Conor McGregor to get back on track, because they both handled their first loss similarly, by just kind of disappearing and not handling it well.
Yeah.
She disappeared for longer.
She did. Well, and I think publicly she was more distraught than Conor was. Conor was like, nah, it happens. I lost, whatever.
But behind the scenes, you could tell he really buckled down.
Yes, yeah, it made him stronger. Ronda, I think she took that year off, and she literally did not train at all. Which I have felt what I think I saw in her from this performance. She didn't get any better. I've gone from I fought, and I've had no time to train really hard and progress myself because whatever it was, I was teaching or we were cornering fighters. And then, boom, I'm fighting again. And I fight, and I don't feel like I got any better. And I feel like it shows that I didn't get any better. And I think that's what happened with her. I think she didn't progress at all. It was the exact same thing.
She had no plan. She had no game plan.
No, she did have a game plan, but the game plan was a horrible one. The plan was to get into upward or upright clinch range so she could do her judo throws. And you're not going to do that on a long-rangey fighter like Amanda Nunes. Also a black belt in jiu-jitsu. So let's say you get it to the ground. And she's stronger. I think Amanda Nunes is a lot stronger than Ronda Rousey. She had all the attributes against her. She really did.
So you're there. You were at the weigh-ins. You were at all the little events. And
yeah.
You were at the fight.
Yeah.
So let's take the temperature of Vegas before the fight, during, and after.
Oh my God! Everybody was there to see Ronda. Everybody, like it was like the Ronda Rousey show. So I've been in Vegas whenever it's been. I forget who Conor fought. I think that was Nate Diaz. The one time I saw him fight.
Yeah, you did see that fight.
But like Ireland is in the building. Like it's crazy. That's how it felt for Ronda Rousey. Like everybody was there to see Ronda, and there was like sporadic Brazilian fans here and there that were cheering for Nunes. So that's how it started. That's how the weigh-ins were. They were all about Ronda. Everyone was there to see Ronda. After the fight, after she got knocked out, this one guy in front of me turns around and he goes, "I apologize, but there are no refunds on your Ronda Rousey shirts." And you could tell that I think there's a lot of people that wanted to see her.
Did it quiet down? Were people just in shock?
No. That was the other interesting thing. I'm willing to bet a lot of people who were rooting for Ronda also wanted to see her fail.
Yeah.
I really do.
They got to.
And I think people kind of flipped as soon as they saw how much she was getting.
She lost 2 fights ever. And now people say she's done forever.
I said that before this fight. Yeah, I think she's done. She's not fighting again. And I think that's the reason.
There are people that lose 6 and 7 fights and they keep stringing a nice career together. Did she get too big too fast?
She was on top. I need to find out who said this first, and I want to credit Frank Mir for saying this, but she was an above average fighter in a very under average or subpar, however you want to say it, division. That's where she was at her peak. She was up here, everyone else was down here. So within the year that she's taken off, everybody else has, Miesha Tate and Holly Holm, they've become average fighters. So they may still not be above Ronda, but Ronda has kind of stagnated, and then Amanda Nunes is now an above average fighter. A Cyborg is an above average fighter in her division. So that happened. So people surpassed her, and now she's going to be fighting them. Of course she's going to lose.
So she's done.
Yep, she's done. She's not fighting again.
And it sucks for her because her entire brand is marketed around dominance, and she's not anymore. And that's that. Yeah,
it's tough. You look at someone like GSP who went out on a high note, and you wonder, if he were to do movies like Ronda's doing, how that would have affected him and how his movie career would have went. I have a feeling now she's going to have a lot more trouble getting high-paid roles in movies.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not trying to compare her to Anderson Silva. But if you look at her high, if the way everybody treated her, they treated her like she was one of the greatest women of all time, much like Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva hasn't been dominating now, but he's still held in such a high regard.
He is. He's one of the greatest of all time. Now, no, let's think back to his last few fights.
And he lost them.
He did, but he took Daniel Cormier to a decision. That's unbelievable.
It's much different than getting your face popped open like a zit in 48 seconds.
And Anderson, it seemed like other than getting taken down, it seemed like Anderson just kind of played with him. And then he fought Michael Bisping, and he won that fight, but he lost to the judges. So he lost his last few fights, but I think he won against Michael Bisping. And, so he's the current 185-pound champion. And then his next fight, he fights the 205 champion. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's great.
So a little different than Ronda.
Again, I'm not trying to compare them as athletes. I'm trying to compare them as far as media hype goes.
Yeah. When
they were at their peak, and it seems like people were were ready to jump off of the Ronda Rousey ship.
Yep.
Yeah. I think some people wanted to jump off the Conor McGregor ship, but he's not giving them an opportunity to do that.
No, not at all. No.
Because he's just killing everybody.
He is.
And nobody wants him to fail at UFC more than the WWE.
Oh, really?
That's true. He is a pro wrestler.
Yeah.
He's a WWE superstar.
So they want him to fail in MMA, so he goes to...
Guaranteed. He would be such huge money for them.
Wow.
The money that they make off of Brock Lesnar, just think what they'd make off of Conor McGregor. Although he's smaller than just about everybody on the roster, but it's Conor McGregor.
Yeah, that's interesting. I never thought of that.
Although you don't want to give him a live mic on a Raw where you can't say F words and...
Fukin.
Maybe you can get away with Fukin. He's the funniest. You'll do nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. No, Dominic Cruz and Cody Garbrandt. Did you watch the fights?
I did not.
You did not.
I did not. I did not live. I've since watched.
You watched them after. That's another one that I completely predicted. I knew that Cody Garbrandt. I thought Cody Garbrandt was. I knew he was going to win. If you asked me how he was going to win, my guess would have been second round KO.
And you like Dominic Cruz?
I love Dominic Cruz for so many reasons. So to fast forward through the fight and look at how Dominic reacted when he lost, one of the first things in his post-fight interview that one of the interviewers said, they said, so you had a bad night. And he was like, what was bad about it? And he's like, and the reporter's like, well, you lost. He's like, losing's part of life. It happens. It's like, holy cow. Like, talk about a champion mindset.
Right.
You know?
But conversely, Ronda didn't handle it like that at all. Like, she had a bad night. So it's interesting people can see him lose and say it's not a bad night, and see her lose.
Because they know how she's going to react to it. I've always said, so a lot of people react to situations. You just need to act. You know what I mean? Don't react to what happened. Just do what you're doing anyways. And that's what he does. He's like, oh, whatever, I lost. Same thing with Conor. Oh, I lost. I'll be back. No biggie. Everyone knows that it completely kills Ronda that she lost, right. And she's somewhere sobbing right now. And then you get the people who are speculating and wondering what she's doing, so they're making it up. So they're probably thinking, oh, she's probably in the back crying, and she.
I assumed she was.
Exactly, because you don't know.
Well, she was in the ring crying.
Yeah,
she wasn't doing too great.
No,
she wasn't doing great. But Dominic Cruz, I really like that. It's not easy to achieve that. Like, I control what I can control. I didn't win the fight. I'm okay.
It happens
because most human beings, you lose like that, you don't feel good about it.
No,
even if you gave it your best.
No, I think Dominic Cruz, just like Uriah Faber, and I try to follow this mindset. Look at the overall picture of your life. Are you winning? If you're winning, good job.
Yeah.
If you lost a fight, did you really lose at life? No. You just lost a fight. He's still a great commentator. He's made plenty of money. He's going to continue making money. He's going to have a rematch. Everything's great. It is what it is. If anything, he might make more money by having this rematch, So we'll see.
Speaking of commentator, rare opportunity opening up with UFC.
You're right.
That's big stuff.
No more Mike Goldberg.
More Mike Goldberg.
Hello, Jerry Valeri.
I'm telling you, do they have open auditions?
Someone said Jim Rome.
I mean,
I don't know if that is true.
I don't know. Rome and Rogan at the same time would be a little goofy.
What does Jim Rome know about fighting? Has he ever commentated boxing or anything?
I guess he could surprise me with what he knows, because he follows so many sports, and he is one of the few guys that has a sports talk show that focuses on fighting. Sometimes he spent a good part of his time. He'll talk to fighters. He'll bring in fighters. And it's not just I'll bring in Brock Lesnar or I'll bring in Conor McGregor, because like Colin Cowherd and all those guys. Well, they'll talk to either one of those dudes.
Yeah.
But he'll talk fighting sometimes. He's just like everyone else, where he'll talk football most, and college football and basketball and things like that. But he does focus on fighting, so he has an interest in it.
Huh, cool.
But I don't know what he knows and what he doesn't know.
Speaking of knowing and not knowing, so we're sitting at the fights. We had great seats. And
you give me a job like that, and I'll learn it. Like I'm
call. I think that's what he would do.
I'm sure a lot of guys are just like, just get me in there.
Yeah, and I'll do it. But I think there's probably a pretty high price tag for him too. So who knows? So quick story. So we're sitting down at the fights, and it was Brooke and I, and then this other very attractive young lady and her boyfriend. It was obvious that they were together. And we're watching the fights, and I hear her go, "Why don't you just go for the outside trip?" Like, she kind of whispers that to herself. And I'm like, that's weird. And then we're watching the fights a little bit longer, and I hear her go, "Just pass half guard. Just I think she said something like, just do the knee slice pass." And I'm like, what's going on here? And then I hear her say,
so she's calling out real stuff.
And I'm like, what's going on here? And I think what ended up setting me off was she said something like, the outside trip just stuck in my mind. She said something like, "Oh, that was almost an outside trip into a Uchimata," which is a judo throw. I'm like, wait a minute. Like, what's going on here? Yeah, and I'm like, I turned to her and I'm like, oh, so I assume you had crews for that fight, and I started talking to her. She was a Invicta fighter, Angelica, I can't remember her name. I want to say Chavez or something like that. Really cool chick.
Very attractive,
beautiful. Friends with Donald Cerrone's
I'm looking
family.
at that, by the way.
Yeah, she's really sweet. But so I got to tell her my my Donald Cerrone stories of him at Thai camp and a few other stories that I'll leave out. But
that Cerrone story at Thai camp is great.
It is. I love hearing it from Chai. But everybody I have yet to train with Donald Cerrone, but everybody I've known that have trained.
Is that her?
Yeah, that's her.
Angelica Chavez. I'm going to talk while I hold it up. Is it?
Yeah, that's her. Yeah, she's a cool chick.
Yeah, she. Boy, it's like, wow, you're really pretty, and you're killing me at the same time.
Yeah, and she knew what she was doing. I guess I'll give her props too. Her family owns a small gym in Albuquerque, so that's how she knew Donald Cerrone and everything. I was a creeper on Facebook afterwards, and I friended her. She hasn't accepted my friend request.
You already,
like, who's this weird guy that's friending me on Facebook that sat beside me at the fights?
So you already went next level.
We'll tag her in this podcast.
Right.
So.
And then she'll ignore us even more.
But that was weird. I guess it was just a stereotype I had of like, how in the world would this beautiful young lady know anything about fighting? Meanwhile, her boyfriend's not saying anything. Like, he doesn't know. It seemed like he didn't know anything about fighting. And she's calling out legit stuff.
Like a knee slice guard? What is that?
A knee slice pass.
Whatever.
Who was it? Was it TJ Dillashaw that was stuck in? Yeah, he was stuck in half guard. He's having trouble getting out of.
Do you agree with her assessment that would have got him out?
Yes, I think that's what she said. Like I said, the whole time she's whispering it, and I'm like, what? Did she really just say that?
What's happening here?
So coming full circle, who knows? Maybe Jim Rome would surprise us with what he knows.
Right.
I have that stereotype of he knows nothing about fighting, but I might be wrong.
Well, sometimes they try to do that. Like when Dennis Miller did Monday Night Football for a while, they thought they'd bring in another voice, like just a goofy, like a comedian kind of voice. But they did that with Joe Rogan. But Joe Rogan knows fighting so much. I don't know if he always knew.
Oh yeah, no, I think they knew that he was into it.
He's into it. They hit the jackpot with Joe Rogan because he is funny. He's engaging,
but he's not comedic on commentating. He's just on point, and there's no humor there, which is interesting.
Right, because he could turn it on because he is a very funny guy.
Yeah. What I find interesting is, you're right, whoever it is, if they are not as immersed in fighting as Joe Rogan is, what you saw Mike Goldberg do a lot was, and I think he tried not to, was he would say, it's almost like he could have gotten the takedown there, huh, Joe? And he would try to validate it with Joe. And Joe would either say, well, yes, but blah, 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 blah. So maybe it'll work having one person that's really good at commentating that can kind of bounce off ideas to Joe, even if he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Joe is very interesting because, and I compare it to, I compare it to baseball commentary and I compare it to football commentary. You have a play-by-play and you have a color commentary. So the play-by-play is the guy that calls the play. He tells you what you're seeing. He paints the story and he tells you what you're seeing and then what just happened. Then the color commentary guy gives you more of like why he did that, backstory on the guy's family.
You're right.
Things like that. Gets the conversation going in between the plays.
Yeah,
is what the color does. Joe. This is.
I've heard all of this, but you're explaining it very well. Keep going.
Joe does it both.
Yeah.
That's what's interesting. He's play-by-play and color.
Yeah. And
he can go back and forth. And really, all Mike Goldberg is there. And I hate to minimize because Mike Goldberg is a very good announcer. I have a lot of respect for him. Mm-hmm. He's just there to keep the ship up. Mm-hmm. He's just there to keep them on track and keep and he does the live reads and the advertisements and he gets you from segment A to segment B and he does more of that. When the fight's going on, it's Joe's show and Mike's there just to feed him.
You're totally right. I never thought about it that way, and I think that was a great way of explaining it. Huh. Yeah, so maybe Jim Rome will be that good color commentator.
It's funny when you watch something like fights or whatever. You're watching it as a fighter. You're watching it, and I always watch all of that stuff as a broadcaster.
Sure, it's good call.
How are they doing it? So I kind of study that first.
That's neat. Yeah, that's how I am with music. I'm always studying what exactly is going on within the music before I enjoy it as a fan, which is hard for me. So you're doing the same thing. You're analyzing it from a broadcaster's standpoint before you even enjoy it. Would that be a good way of explaining it?
Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
And Steve Jones is an example that I can use for why Jim Rome might be good at it. See, I've never heard Jim Rome do any play-by-play, so I don't know how he would do something like that. But he is a good announcer and a talk host, and so he could do the Goldberg role. Steve Jones is the voice of Penn State football and the voice of Penn State basketball. He does play-by-play for both. And he's done it for 25 years. He's very good. One day I was working just as PA announcer for women's soccer for Penn State. And it was a Big Ten championship, and they were on TV, and they didn't have an announcer, and they called Steve Jones, and he came in, and he didn't know anything about it, and he just showed up, and he did play-by-play, and he sounded great. And he'd never done play-by-play for women's soccer before. And it's just, if you do play-by-play, you just watch the sport and tell them what they're seeing, and like, so it's not like if you can do this, you can do that,
Yeah.
It's not the same as that, but I feel like if Jim Rome can do one really well, he could probably, if you give him a learning curve, do the other one.
That's neat.
That said, I don't like Jim Rome's show.
No.
So we'll see how that goes.
What I found was so surprising was how many just casual fans had an opinion on how Ronda, I don't know if they were just, regurgitating what they heard, but how Ronda could win, how she could lose. Like, we're talking like 50-year-old women that work at a desk all day.
Yeah.
Like they were into it. And I'm listening to some things, like, just as we're sitting in line or whatever it was, and I'm like, man, she knows what she's talking about. Like, that's funny. But then you had the other side of it where people had no clue what they were looking at, what they were talking about. Like, some of the most idiotic lines that I ever hear. One of them is like, people are like, stop wrestling around on the ground down there, just stand up.
Yeah,
it's like
fighting like a man.
Yeah, why are you getting punched in the face? Stop getting, it's like, so you hear that from people, and they legit are like, if he took me down, I'd just stand back up. I'm not going to do any of that wrestling stuff. And people would be saying that, and it's like, oh my God.
Well, people do that all the time. They say, like when Conor McGregor gets tapped out by Nate Diaz or whatever, because jiu-jitsu's good, so just don't go to the ground with them. If you just don't go to the ground with them, then you're going to be fine. Okay, take a good jiu-jitsu guy, take a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and then do me a favor, you stand in front of him, and if he wants you to go to the ground, don't go to the ground.
Yep.
Just don't go to the ground.
It's just as hard not to have that happen if you're uneducated or they're extremely better than you.
They're a black belt in getting you to the ground.
Yeah.
So they can tap your ass.
I would argue that no. They're a black belt. Most black belts are good at tapping you out once it gets to the ground. A All-American wrestler is a black belt at getting you to the ground.
Okay.
So yeah. Let's see you stand up against TJ Dillashaw. Let's see you stand up against Dominic Cruz and not be taken. They're going to be able to take you down. Phil Davis.
So everybody's Chuck Liddell. He was hard to take down. He had that wrestling background, and all he used it for was to sprawl.
Sprawl and brawl. Yep.
But he made you pay for it on the way up. Because if you didn't get him down, he'd hit you from the weirdest angles, too.
Yep. Yeah, he had a crazy reach, too. When you see him with his arms down to his sides, it's almost like his fingers are down to his kneecaps. Like, he's a long dude. So
is he a guy that the game advanced past him? He bought into his hype too much, or he just got older?
Lost his chin. That was the biggest part. I think he was still technically sound. I think he was good, but he lost his chin, and people got better. But I still think he was good when he retired.
Boy, when he would hit you, you'd feel it.
Yeah, big time. Kind of like Cody Garbrandt. Cody Garbrandt has an unbelievable amount of power. Have I ever told my Cody Garbrandt story on there? Okay,
so this is the first podcast we've ever talked about Cody Garbrandt.
Good call. So he's semi-local. He's from Ohio.
Okay.
So he always used to fight in Pittsburgh. And I don't think Pittsburgh is technically our region for Golden Gloves, but we always fought Pittsburgh, Erie. So he was on that side. So one Golden Gloves tournament, this kid comes in, and he's warming up and everything. And I'm like, his corner must be coming. He's just warming up now. And then I see him starts wrapping his hands. I'm like, well, that's weird. He's wrapping his own hands. Like, this kid's fighting. So then I look on the card, and his name's Cody. And I see what number he is, and I see this kid continuing to warm up. He was fighting a non-tournament bout on the Golden Gloves card, which means that you're not in the Golden Gloves tournament, but just to kind of add more fights to the card, they would have non-tournament bouts. So it gets to the point where I'm like, man, this kid's fight's coming up. And like he's warming up and he's shaking out. And I go over to him. I'm like, okay, do you have a corner? He's like, oh yeah, I'm good. I'm like, oh okay. I'm like, I thought maybe if you needed a corner, I'm more than happy to help you out. Even if it's just giving you water in between. He's like, no, I'm good. It's all good. But he never told me that he didn't have a corner, but he made me believe that he did. Right. So I just left it alone. So the fight start, or they announce him, walks out, completely unattended.
No corner.
Jumps in the ring, fights the guy. I want to say he knocked him out in like the second round. In between rounds, just stood there and stared at the kid. Like I think he knocked him out. And the
other kid had a corner.
Other kid had a corner.
So
and
he's sitting and getting water, and the other guy's just
no. He didn't even drink anything in between rounds. He's just standing there. So then he. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. So I think he knocked him out in the second round, if I remember correctly, which is probably what helped me believe that he could knock out Dominic Cruz in the second round. And you have to understand that knockouts are less than 1% in amateur boxing. That's how few times it happens. So knocks the guy out, gets his little medal. Like I said, it was a non-tournament bout, but you still get a little medal. Walks out, gets into his car, drives home. And if I remember correctly, he was driving a convertible Mustang.
So self-sufficient.
Drove to the fights, fought, drove home. Like, what a monster.
That's incredible. And I like the idea of him taping one hand is fine with your dominant hand, and then you've got to tape your dominant hand.
You get used to it.
With your other hand that's already taped.
Yeah, it's easy. It's like doing your fingernails. You got to switch off the fingernail clipper, but you get it done.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's my Cody Garbrandt story. Never talked to him after that. That's the only experience I've ever had with him. But talk about an impression of like, holy crap, this kid. And then I had to like piece together things of like, was this the same kid that did? Yep, that was the same kid.
I think it's interesting that he, because he might have been like, oh, I don't have a corner. That's okay. I'll just go and I'll do it. But then you gave him an opportunity to have a corner.
He was fine not having a corner.
He was like, I'm okay.
Nope, I'm good. All right.
I'm good.
Another funny story from that. I think it was the same fights.
It makes his knockout more impressive to me somehow.
Yeah, how about it? No, I know. That's what I mean. I'm completely impressed by the kid. So I think it was the same tournament. So with Golden Gloves, you have an idea of the people you're fighting, everything, but it's a tournament, so you don't know who you're fighting. So we get there, and we always scout out the person that we're going to be fighting. The first thing we want to find out is if they're southpaw or orthodox, what combos they're doing on the pads. We already know like what gym they're with and all of that. So this was at I think it's called Royal Palace or something like that in Pittsburgh.
That sounds like a strip club.
1,000% a strip club. They would have the fights, and then the fights would end. They clear it out, and then it became a strip club.
Nice.
Yes. So that's Royal Palace in Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure someone
can we go there? Because I could easily tell my wife we're going to see fights.
I think they still have fights there. I think we just need to have some people fighting Golden Gloves. So, anyways, upstairs is where all of the strippers would get ready. So there was like dressing rooms.
Yeah.
So the dressing rooms had a few sinks and a mirror. And that's where we would warm up.
And the mirror would come off so they could do the coke off the mirror.
Probably. So we're in one dressing room, and I'd say to my one friend who was helping coach, Alex. I go, Alex, go check out, the other guy and see, find out if he's orthodox or southpaw or whatnot. Because we have a huge southpaw game. If we find out that they're definitely orthodox, we have a huge southpaw game that we play against them. So he goes and he looks in through the crack of the door and he sees the guy warming up in the mirror and he's like, oh my God, he's southpaw. So he comes running back to us. He's like, yeah, he's southpaw. So this is what we're gonna do. Blah blah blah. We devise our whole game plan around this fact that he's southpaw. We get out there. Kid comes out orthodox, and Alex goes, "Oh my God, I was looking in the mirror, so everything is reversed." And he's like, and then the other kid who was fighting, Alex Waskov, one of our Golden Gloves champions, he goes, Alex, he's not southpaw, he's orthodox. So we had to switch the whole game on.
Switch it up,
just because we looked in the mirror, and we had everything planned. I think he won that tournament.
Are you willing to say what the southpaw game plan is? Like, what's the southpaw?
No, never. We have certain things that we've done and we've won fights with, and then I have coaches come up, especially with Golden Gloves. They come up and they're like, "What was your fighter doing?" And I always just go, "Yes."
Yes.
And I never really, you can go back and watch the fight footage and figure it out if you want. But no, we have a game plan that is at its core is Kali and Dog Brothers martial arts for striking. And it's all about angles and making sure we're out of the way. Very similar to what I think Dominic Cruz kind of developed on his own, which most people don't really realize that. I think Dominic Cruz's footwork and everything, he's kind of self-developed that. He just kind of saw stuff that worked and decided, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to see if it's going to work. And he devised his own game. But what he was doing was he was creating angles that were very similar to Kali angles.
Yeah.
In getting out of the way. And your main goal with fighting stand-up is to hit and not get hit. So if you're out of the way, and if okay, all their punches are coming in here and here. So if I'm over here, they're not going to hit me. So if you can keep that going and you can hit them from over here, you win. So that's the conceptual side of it.
That's the short of it.
But I won't tell you
the long and short of it.
No, I don't know that we've gone over any of the material in any of your classes yet. But
well, that's the best way to do it. Someone asks you, be like, "Well, you can take a class.
Come to the class.
Come fight for us. I'll give you a game plan."
There you go.
Well, and that's always one of the most interesting things to us when we have our fighters and the fighters from the gym. Pete and Elise and anyone else that's planning to fight. Nathan when he fought. You give them a game plan. And the game plan usually works. Doesn't mean they win every time, but if they do it the right way, like you watch the. Well, what do you do when you send them into a fight against someone that doesn't have a fight? Like, you don't have a game plan.
You don't. So you figure out the most probable situations. So okay, this guy's brand new. He's never fought before. Okay, where's he fighting out of? All right, well, we've already seen 3 or 4 of their fighters. We know that the coach likes to do this. Okay, well, there we go. We've got a little bit going on. We'll find out if a camp is really kick heavy, or if they're really good at clinch, whatever it is. And then we'll devise it around that. We'll have 2 or 3 game plans, and then we just shift it on the fly. I think one of Pete's last opponents had 0 fights, so we didn't know how he was going to react. And I'm fine saying this. If you're warming up and you're hitting pads and everything out in the open, as a coach, I'm going to watch. If I'm fighting, if my fighter's fighting your team next, I'm going to watch you guys warming up. I'm going to see what's going on.
If I'm playing cards with you, if we're playing poker and you're beside me and you're holding your cards out, I'm going to see them.
Yep.
I'm not trying to cheat, but I'm going to look.
Yep.
And that's what's going to happen.
And I expect them to do the same, which is why...
What do you do when you have pad rounds with your fighters?
We're doing them in secret. We do them off to the side. We're in a little nook where, in order for you to see what's going on, you have to come around and look at us. And then I usually have a lookout watching, someone's coming, hold up. And, it's obvious if their shirt says their gym name. Look, hang out for a second. Let me just wait. At the Hamburg Fieldhouse or wherever it is, they have those locker rooms. We warm up in the locker rooms. Then I have someone watch the door.
You just took over a bathroom.
It's the locker room. We just go in. We're warming up now.
Out. Yeah, everybody out.
Or if they're not, if it's someone who's not from their team, we know what team. Yeah, it's cool, but yeah, that's how we do it, especially when we're fighting someone that we don't know we're fighting. I'll tell you what, too. I think the novice tournaments are the hardest to prepare for because you are fighting people who are 0-0. So if you took me, I'm 0-0 in kickboxing. I've never fought kickboxing. So you could research what I've done in the past, but you don't know how I'm going to fight. And that happens. So you'll have people...
See, that'd be the worst. People think 0-0 means you don't know what you're doing. You're
or
technically
brand
0-0 or brand new. Like if I went into a fight, I'm 0-0, I'm brand new, and I fight like I'm brand new. You're 0-0, and that would suck for me.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people who have never competed before that are just monsters. In jiu-jitsu, John Danaher is a perfect example. So he has Gordon Ryan, Gary Tonin, and the list goes on and on of all of these amazing grapplers that he's brought up. His original instructor and still his sensei is Renzo Gracie. He's known as one of the best coaches in all of jiu-jitsu, and he's never competed.
That's odd. That seems odd to me.
It does seem odd, but it doesn't. I mean, I relate it to a skateboarding tournament. So in order to be good at skateboarding, do you need to do a skateboarding tournament? No. You can just skateboard. You can just be really good at skateboarding. And that's how it is with martial arts. It's an art. So if you practice your art, I mean, it gets the same. I don't know if there's painting competitions.
I think people go to bars now and drink and paint.
There you go.
It's as close as you get to a painting competition.
But if someone's good at painting, they're good at painting. If someone's good at martial arts, they're good at martial arts. Now you do have the people who never spar or never roll and just train. That's cool. That's fine. That's what we want to do. But they're kind of in a different, separate category. I would hope if someone's getting ready for a competition that they would spar and whatnot.
That's good. Well, first podcast of 2017 seems to be pretty good in the books. Big year for the gym. I know you don't like to do a lot of promotion for the gym on our podcast, but Ryan Brinkman, who we had in season 1 of Coaching the Comics, season 1, I'm excited. He's here now. He's going to be a jiu-jitsu coach.
He was in Lock Haven, so he's only 40 minutes away. His family's up there.
He's really the coolest guy. Like to just talk to him, he's so nice, so laid back. That surfer attitude just emanates off of him.
It does. Yeah, he's a really cool guy. The other thing that really stuck out to me about Ryan Brinkman, and one of the reasons that we decided to bring him on, is because he truly cares about helping people. He has a few different charities that he's part of, like Black Belts for Butterflies and whatnot, where he wants to help people. One of the last tournaments that him and his team did, they all took some pink tape and they put it on their belt and they wrote on the pink tape someone who has passed away from cancer that was part of their life. And the idea was they weren't competing for themselves; they were competing for that person. He wants to help people.
And you could tell that the time that he was getting a few fighters ready for fights, and then he brought them down, and you let them work in just so they had different people work in.
Sure.
Those guys that he came with love him.
Yep.
That says something. When your fighters not just respect you, but they see you as like a best friend. They see you as a friend. That's not easily achieved.
It isn't, no. And the bigger the gym gets, after January, we're going to probably be pushing 800 students. Unfortunately, I can't be the best friend and the coach and the instructor.
Just to me.
And the training and the training partner. Like, I can't physically do that. I don't have enough hours in the day to do that. So that's why we have so many more instructors, One
of my favorite podcasts we ever did was with Brinkman because he was talking. He told us about dojo raids. He still never would have told me about dojo raids. People going into dojos and trying to take over.
I thought I shared one, didn't I?
You shared one after he brought it up, though. He talked about getting into fights with surfers, and so I feel like the biggest advantage for you is that he's bringing his black belt in jiu-jitsu to the gym. The biggest advantage for me is he's going to be able to do the podcast.
I love it. Let's do it.
It's funny.
Yeah.
You're a funny guy. And I feel like one of these days I'm gonna let him choke me out. I want to see I want to see if I can take a choke. Like I don't know. I've never been choked. Maybe set the cameras out on the mat, and I'll try to do it for the first day.
I think yeah, there you go. I think the chair would be a safer bet. Quick story. One of the tribal gatherings that we did. The tribal gatherings are only for dogs, only for dog brothers. The public can't come to it. There's no spectators. We just fight. It's a pretty awesome thing. So we had a field medic that was there, and he was explaining like tracheotomies and whatnot. And he also wanted to explain how to help someone regain consciousness. So they choked out one guy. Yeah. A kid I ended up fighting, his dog name is Sleazy Dog. Don't ask about how he got the name.
I don't want to know.
Choked him out, and it's all on video. And he starts, he lets him go out. And he starts gurgling, and then as he's coming to, just frothing and snot coming out. Oh. So you got to be ready for that when you're coming back.
Well, do I get the tap, or should I just go to bed?
I always am in favor of tapping. I think you should always tap.
Always tap. Because I feel like what I would do is I would have him get me set up. So teach me how to tap you, and then I'll get in a position where I can tap him, and then see how quickly it takes him to get out of that situation, and then tap me.
Yeah, I think it'd be pretty easy. I always say tap today, train tomorrow.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
it's interesting too with the with getting knocked out. I think that has a cumulative effect. One of my good friends, Warren Stout, head instructor down at Henzo Gracie Pittsburgh. He thinks that he has this idea that if you get choked out, that it may actually help you. Like obviously we don't want to go getting choked out more and more and more, but it may actually help your resistance of getting almost to that point to where you're about to go out and then not going out.
Learn where you're build your tolerance.
Build your tolerance in some way. Who knows if that's true? Yeah, I don't know if you're building the muscle wall of your carotid arteries, which probably doesn't exist, or what.
Well, if you ever want to practice that, I'll choke you and then let you. I'll do it.
Happens all the time. I'm going to be getting choked out in 25 minutes.
I don't know why I always set myself up for things like this. I've always tried. One of the things I've tried to do on the air, and I've never been able to get a police unit to
tase you?
To cooperate. No, you're too excited when tasing comes up. No, I've always wanted to go to a football field, and I'd start at the 50-yard line.
Uh-huh.
And you put those K9 police dogs at that one end zone.
Okay.
And then I race that sucker to the other end zone. He gives me a 50-yard head start.
50, right.
And then we go. And I bet you I can beat it. And every cop I've ever talked to says, he'd take you down by the 20. You'd be dead. And
50 yards.
Especially if you put me, they'd have to put me in one of those suits.
Sure.
Because he'll take me down by the arm.
Sure.
Or the leg.
So you're going to be a little restricted as you're running.
Right. So maybe I start from the other 40. I don't know what I do. I just get me...
You know what you could do? You could start at the 10 and make it. And then start at the 20 and then make it. Is that how it works? 10, 20, 30?
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10. So, yeah, that's good. That's a good idea. And
then see how far you can go. It's kind of like throwing free throws. I'm getting into sports here.
Look at you. Yeah. Look at you. Free throws and 40-yard lines.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
I know.
Penn State has a football game tomorrow. Are you going to watch it? The
I didn't know that.
Rose Bowl?
No, I'm not going anywhere near the stadium, by the way. I want nothing to do with it.
Oh, it's in Pasadena.
Sorry, that's my ongoing joke that I use all the time.
I'm not going to the stadium.
Especially whenever parents come in, they're like, "Are you watching the game?" "Oh no, I'm going to stay in today. I'm not going up near the stadium."
People asked you when you were in Vegas if you were going to the game, if you were driving, like the rental car people, and you were like, "I don't."
People were flying into Vegas, driving to California, driving back to Vegas, and flying out because it was less expensive.
My favorite quote, someone was talking about a Michigan game when we were at Champs, and you were like, "Oh, who are they fighting?"
Yeah.
Like, it's just,
I don't do sports. I've always loved how Joe Rogan says that everybody who plays sports really just wants to fight. It is a dumbed down version of fighting. That's all they want to do.
Yeah.
They just impose more rules where you can't. What's football? Someone's trying to get a ball across the line. You can't punch them. You can't kick them, you can't choke them, but you can try to stop them with wrestling.
You can push them and shove them and hit them.
Yeah, that's fighting. Wrestling is, I don't want to say a dumbed down version.
Wrestling is fighting, really.
Yeah, but see, so I always have classified if it's a fight, that means you can get punched in the face. If you cannot get punched in the face, no fight. I think wrestling is a wrestling match. It's not a wrestling fight.
It's more dignified.
Yeah. Jiu-jitsu is not a jiu-jitsu fight.
So
it's a jiu-jitsu match.
You wouldn't call jiu-jitsu fighting?
No, it's not. It's wrestling. It's grappling. It's not fighting. If you cannot get punched in the face, it is not.
It's only part of a fight if it's mixed martial arts.
No, because boxing's fighting.
Well, yeah.
Boxing's
that's okay. Okay, so that's fighting.
It's punched in the face.
Punched in the face.
Punched in the
no
face.
other exception.
If there was some weird tournament where you could just get kicked in the legs, that's not fighting.
It's not fighting. That's shin fights.
Yes, that's shin kicking.
Yeah. Shin kicking. I learned yesterday that somewhere in England they have a shin kicking competition.
I know. That sounds just brutal.
It sounds awful.
Yeah.
I knocked shins with somebody once when I didn't have shin pads on, and I got a goosebump on my shin.
A goosebump? You need a goose egg?
Goose egg.
Goosebumps are the small
ones. No, the goosebump.
No, it's not a goosebump. It's a goose egg.
I call those goosebumps, right?
No, goosebumps are when you get cold.
I call those douche chills.
Okay, we'll keep that terminology.
That's it. On that note.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, we'll keep this rolling. Hopefully we have a special guest in a few weeks. We get the third mic rolling, and let's plan on it.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff coming, a lot of cool seminars, and with good seminars brings good people to this gym.
Yes.
In this office.
That's right. And we'll do more podcasts. Well, over and out. I guess it's still technically the afternoon right now, but good night, podcast.
Good night, podcast.